Now, Production and Water Quality Manager of the Upper West Region Office of the Ghana Water Company Limited, Kletos Deyuku, has expressed worry over the increasing level of pollution of the black water, which he said is negatively impacting on the operations of the Jumbusu water treatment plant. He said since the commissioning of the project in 2017, the activities of illegal miners and loggers, farming and fishing activities have affected the quality of the water. JoyNews' Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports.
As part of the celebration of World Water Day, selected students drawn from 4 second cycle institutions, namely St. Francis Xavier Minor Seminary, Wa Senior High, Wa Senior High Technical, and Wa Islamic Girls Senior High Schools, had a tour of the Jumbusu water production plant in the West district of the Upper West region. The aim of the tour is for the selected students to learn and acquaint themselves with the various production stages of the water from the black water to Wa and its surrounding communities. The 3.3 million gallons water project was commissioned in 2017 at a cost of $55 million United States dollars. The students were accompanied on the tour by officials from the Water Resources Commission, Ghana Water Company Limited, and the Community Water and Sanitation Agency. Production and Water Quality Manager of the Ghana Water Company Limited, Kletos Deyuku, expressed worry over the increasing level of pollution on the black water.
2017 up to now, we did analysis. We have realized that the pollution level keep increasing, and that means that it's we, the people of Wa, and those along the river, our activities that is polluting the river. And we have realized that the activities that are most affecting the quality of the water in the river is the illegal mining activities, farming activities, fishing, and other activities that we may not be able to see. Logging is one. Once you clear the environment, now the land cover is removed. So when it rains, the water will run at a speed and therefore wash off the surface water, soil into the water, then increasing the turbidity of the water and also silting the river.
Just some few meters away, our camera captured these suspected illegal miners close to the black water doing their act. Kletos Deyuku noted that once the level of pollution of the water increases, chemicals used in treating the water are also increased, resulting in the high cost of production of water from the plant.
Now they say Ghana Water Company produce clean water, distribute it. That's our mandate. We produce, transmit water to the community at an affordable price. Now, if we are polluting the water bodies, our cost of production is increasing. How are we going to make it affordable for the people? That means that the cost of production will be transferred into the community. A time will come, if we don't change our attitude, if we don't accelerate the change that we all want to see, the clean water we all want to have, if we don't institute something, change our behavior, our attitude towards the environment, towards the water bodies, a time will come that the water will not be affordable for all of us as we want it to be.
Basin head at the Black Water Basin, Joachim Abungba noted that as part of effort to the attainment of SDG 6, which targets water for all by 2030, implore all to advocate, among other things, protection and restoration of ecosystems, since it is the surest ways of safeguarding the existence of water for use today and for prosperity.
With regards to groundwater resources, the major challenge faced is the uncontrolled drilling of boreholes and the use of unlicensed drilling companies in drilling and construction of boreholes, and hence result in a situation where we have some boreholes not having or producing water for people. There is also unwillingness on the part of water users in the basin to register their operations with the Water Resources Commission, which is mandated by law to regulate and manage the country's water resources. Without a proper register for water users in the basin, it will be difficult if not impossible, to regulate their activities to the effect that it leads to an unsustainable utilization of basin water resources.
APA was Regional Director of the Community Water and Sanitation Agency, Atukonsa, on his part, expressed concern about burden of loved ones at homes without any proper rising embankment on them.
Most importantly, if you take in our homes, a lot of people bury our loved ones indiscriminately, and we end up not putting any rising embankments on them. Years later, we misplaced the point and we draw boreholes there, and it is one of the major sources of contamination when it comes to the rural areas.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam, Jamboso.
So Rafik Salam joins us on Zoom now with some details on this. Rafik, so we saw, that some Galamsey activities happening on the water. You are there. What are the authorities doing to ensure that those activities do not fester and to even cause more damage? You might want to unmute so we can follow what you're telling us, Rafik.
They are saying that they want to start doing education on the issue, and that's the reason why they brought the students from the senior high schools to the place to see for themselves how damaging the situation is. The production manager stated that since the commissioning of the project in 2017, the level of pollution on the black water is very serious, and for them they think that it isn't the best, which he thinks that is the reason why the cost of production of water from the treatment plant is now soaring. When we look at the black water, because this is a trans-boundary river, it cuts across about 3 countries. Talking about Ghana, Ivory Coast, and also Burkina Faso. When you even take it from the upper stretch, from Nandom Kokoligu up to Solo, you are talking about 83 communities that are lying on that particular river. And so the thinking is that if the water is polluted from any of these communities, it's likely going to have a negative impact on the production plant at Jamboso. And so they mentioned some of the challenges that are facing, which has to deal with illegal logging around the area, and also the use of chemicals when they are fishing on the river, and then above all, which has to do with these illegal miners who are also doing mining around that area. You can see that our camera were able to capture about 300 meters away from where we were. Some of these illegal miners are involved in these nefarious activities.
What about arrest just to deter other people who will be harboring such intentions?
What I know is that the police and also the military, they have been patrolling the area. Sometimes they do go around that area to do a lot of, to arrest. But I don't think for now is that effective. And so what they need to do is that at least they need to embark on more, go to the place more, at least so that they can be able to ward off these suspected criminals away from the black water.
Interesting. Okay, Rafik, I'm grateful that you could join us for those updates from the Upper West region. Now moving on to other stories. 2 nearby communities which did not have schools lobbied government for a school to be built in their territory. One of the community was more persuasive than the other, and so government then put a school in that community. After the completion, for the 2 communities to use the school together, one of the community that lost out to the other community decided not to send their children to that community. Instead, they sent their children 2 hours away to another community to then school. Jojo Kobna delved into that issue in that community, these communities, the Japido and the Tandando in the Pandai district of the Northern region, intermarry and trade but cannot share school.
Once upon a time, a community called Japido in the Pandai district of the Northern region welcomed a group of people who later formed another community called Tadando. The 2 communities lived side by side, traded, intermarried, and related so well together. There was no school in the two communities, so they decided to establish an informal school. They hired the services of a teacher to educate their children. As the number of children grew in both communities, the government decided to establish the school for the two communities. This was some good news. But it was at this point that the communities disagreed. They all wanted the school built on their land.
When the school was about being established here, Japido wanted the school to be in their land because they claimed they were here before Tadando settlers came. And when that wasn't done, they refused to bring their children to the school. I think if we meet the community elders, we may get the reasons from the horse's own mouth.
So I went to Tadando to hear their side of the story. Kojo Samuel is a community leader at Tadando.
No, I say school I'm ever better than no. Until when I am paying for when I did kind of better, until more my coin say, "Obey your mokra there at your bar." Etanaha. To side the moon here, Omumba. Tinintina Mumbai.
The people of Tadando softened their stance and said they wanted a school built in Japido, but based on the large number of children in Tadando, officials of the Ministry of Education decided to set up the school just at the boundary between the two communities.
The director of Panda no Aba have a fair friend was at the side here. And can first school say Japido Tadando primary school. Now first school there say film. Until then we say Japido come person from school say Japido primary school. And yet didn't make say idea. To first school Japido Tadando and the hand school as an area near here. School was Japido. Yet I know for Ebeko.
The people of Japido wanted a school built on their land because they were the first settlers, so they decided to boycott the nearby school and rather enrolled their children over 5 kilometers away. Their children walk over 10 kilometers daily to access school. The children are not happy with this situation, but they have no choice.
My parents told me I'm not going to Tarano, I'm going to Balai, but the time in school here, in school Tarano, the fight, she told me to go to Balai.
You want to go to Tarando?
No.
Why?
Because of fight. The 5 o'clock you wake up and go to Balai. It's too far.
What time did you leave the house?
5 o'clock.
What time did you get to school?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock?
Yes.
So you were tired?
Yes.
When they born me, my parents said that we should not go there to school. That's why we are not going there.
So why are you not going to the next school?
My father told me that they were fighting, that I couldn't go to their school.
So I asked the fathers in Japido why they would punish their children by making them walk long distances when they can simply send them to Tadando. What is just 5 minutes walk?
Ewa nti mbiso ekokwa nai nse ahawa omunante ko muko onyumbo ene balai ene pandai nse omubre be omubre ya anyefi so omubebre nti omubre no obi ekira wo se nane abuya wonso ojimino fa ojimino.
Very young children therefore do not attend school because of the long distance. The children stay at home until they are old enough to walk over 10 kilometers to enjoy the right to education.
No say Tadando Japido amobeko se babi amusi school no yampesa school no ngina ho aha na ya register sa school. One, no musi omo eye nimpa don chen say esa na abenso ejetum say nko mo be ye bribia omo fe population say omo say omo kire sa say population omo de yade say omo don so chen
One very interesting thing is that when a Japido man meets a Tadando woman and they fall in love and they eventually marry, the end product, the children, if they end up living here in Japido, all the children would have to go to Balai, that is several kilometers away, instead of just a 5 minutes walk to Tadando Primary School. It's very interesting. But after engaging them, the people are saying that they will only go to Tadando on one condition.
Ne aban ediba pataye na yenso ya ne aginu nka odi Jesus ba ha na omu ba siawe na omu asesi na ya ne ahu say Jesus ebesi Japido a yebekọ ho.
So as it stands now, if the government delays building a school at Japido, the children would have to walk over 10 kilometers to access education. Jojo Kobna, JoyNews.
Interesting. Well, let's take you back to the Black Star Square, where my colleague Blazer Soga is standing by with an update on the public address by the U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris as part of her state visit to Ghana. Blessed, what's happening there as we speak?
Waiting patiently for that moment when, of course, the U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris will show up on stage and deliver what is expected to be a major policy speech. We do not know the content of what it is that will be said, but all that we can tell you is that there are lots of people here, lots of people who've gone through security checks, waiting since morning, as early as 7 a.m., waiting for that moment where, of course, the U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris, who's on a state visit to Ghana, will show up and make that major policy speech. She started off by arriving on Sunday. Just yesterday, there was an interaction, bilateral talks between the president and the U.S. Vice President at the Jubilee House. We had the president there welcome the Vice President of the U.S. and indicate how, of course, the relations between Ghana and the U.S. continue to rise in good terms. But here we have a lot of people who are typifying that good relations between the United States of America and the Republic of Ghana. And there are so many people here, including Jonathan, who's returned just to be a part of history. You agree there's history?
Yes, sir. I'm really glad to be here. I'm a Ghanaian, so I definitely had to come and support. Raised in the U.S., I'm part of Omega Psi Phi fraternity. It's an international organization, so we really wanted to come and support the Vice President who was here from the USA. You know, we support all that she's doing. Ghana is leading the way internationally, so it's very important that she made this her first stop coming, and we're so proud as Ghanaians to be a part of that. And so I'm just glad to be here. I'm just glad to be here to support.
You see thousands of people out there. What do you surmise might be the reason for which we're seeing such a huge crowd here?
Well, I think it's because of the popularity of the USA, first of all, and people just want to be a part of this historic event. You know, Kamala Harris is the first black Vice President in the USA, so that's a historical thing in itself. And so we're proud of what she's doing. We're proud of that. We're proud as Ghanaians to come and support. You know, it's terrible if she comes here and there's no akwaba from the Ghanaian people. That's what we're known for. So I'm just so glad to see thousands of Ghanaians here supporting her at the speech.
Yeah, and indeed, we must point out that it's not just Ghanaians. We have a mixed race of people who are all out here doing that celebration. But Jonathan, let's talk about her visit and what it means for the African diaspora, because we're in a phase of beyond the return, where the country is trying to harness the energy of the African diaspora for development. Do you feel that the visit of Kamala Harris will further deepen that?
Well, I think it definitely will. You know, the Ministry of Tourism, Mr. Kwasi Ajimai, Mr. Babio with the President's Office of Diaspora, they're doing a great job in promoting this Beyond the Year of Return. And as me being a Ghanaian who's returned after being in the States for almost 50 years, is all what it's about. You know, people are coming back to Ghana to be a part of it. So I think this just sends a great message to everybody abroad in the diaspora that come home to Ghana. Ghana is a place where you can do business, you can grow. And so I think this is monumental for Ghana.
Aside the state visits, how can we harness further the likes of yourself, the energy from outside, those of the black race, to be a part of that concerted effort of using the African diaspora for development?
Well, I think there's so many ways that they can be a part of that. People need to just come back, and Ghanaians need to open up and be friendly with them. The governments, as they come in, whether it's NPP or NDC, they all need to be involved and have incentives for African Americans, for the diasporans to come back to Ghana. You know, things like tax write-offs, so many other things that foreign countries provide that countries here don't provide. So, you know, it's very important that Ghana as a country look at incentives that will make Ghanaians come back and make diasporans come back and be a part of this. Business-friendly environment, tax write-offs, so many incentives are available and should be available to people that want to relocate back to Ghana.
For instance, let's talk about the work you've been engaged in ever since you returned. You've been part of that process. Tell us the story of your organization and what you're seeking to do.
Yes. My organization, Omega Sci-Fi, is part of what they call a D9 organization. It's international organizations of 5 sororities and 4 fraternities. And so we're all international. We have great leaders like Martin Luther King or Kwame Nkrumah was a member of a fraternity. So many people all throughout history, Steve Harvey. And so we're a big organization. We all have chapters here in Ghana. The Omega Sci-Fi started the first chapter here in Ghana in 2011. I was a co-founder of that. And so more D9 organizations are coming. We're huge. We're doing donations. We're doing contributions. I run an NGO called Team CSR Ghana that provides wells and it provides schools. We build schools. We build clinics. We do so many things in Ghana to support the needy. And this is what we need the diasporas to come back and do. Not only do business, but they need to give back to society. They need to give back to Ghanaians. They need to make sure that they're investing also in the infrastructure of the country. And so again, the government needs to make incentives for that. Tax write-offs for donations, things like that, all help in being able to incentivize people to come back to Ghana. So that's some of the things that can be done.
Okay, let's talk about what you look forward to. That black star is still there, and beneath it will be that historic speech. So what major policy announcement are you expecting from the U.S. Vice President?
Well, I think that she should be announcing ways that USA and Ghana can work together. You know, there should be opportunities besides just loans and other things. There should be business opportunities. There should be opportunities for Americans and Ghanaians to be able to work together. That's what I want to hear from her message. Just what is the USA providing for Ghanaians and businesses and things like that, you know, besides just Ghana being an open environment. You know, we don't want people coming here and taking advantage of Ghana. You know, we want to know what are they giving us in return? What are they bringing to the table? So I would like to hear a lot of that from her speech today.
Do you see Ghana positioning itself in the eyes of the world as that center of doing business and welcoming investments?
I think so. I think it's huge. I mean, today here you have Spike Lee here. You have so many people. You know, you have the D9 organizations coming all the time. The NAACP president is here. So many people are here. And so I think that Ghana is becoming the gateway to Africa. You know, not only do we have the slave castles here and things like that for people to connect with their ancestors, but again, it's just a welcome environment. Is almost the first stop now for people coming to Africa. And so this is very, very huge for Ghana. Ghana needs to be proud of that. Ghana needs to take advantage of that, and Ghana needs to, you know, use that to its benefit.
And finally, I see that the creatives are also here. So it's a cross-section of the public, a fair representation of all walks of life. And about the creatives itself, you were talking about the arrival of Idris Elba, Spike Lee, and all of these guys who are in town. How should our creatives equally be taking advantage of this?
Well, I think that the entertainment sector, the artists, the fashion people, they're all doing so much, and they need to take advantage of that. You know, we have one of our fraternity brothers, Kwaba Samoa, with Custom Looks. He designed so many of these dashikis that we wear, that you see guys over here wearing, and things like that. And so there's a market. There's a market for African goods, African entertainment, African music, all of that. And so Ghanaians, this is a ripe opportunity. This is beyond the year of return. This is the future of return, you know. So I think that, you know, Ghanaians need to take advantage of that. Yes, sir.
And indeed, where we stand now, was that prophetic place where Dr. Kwame Nkrumah made the pronouncements that indeed Africa is the future, and we're getting to that. Jonathan, thank you for joining us so much. And Jonathan is one of many thousands of people who are here in the public waiting earnestly to hear from the U.S. Vice President. I will just give you a feel of what's happening around. Both to my right and left, I'm saddled. Of course, in the saddle of a lot of people, and you can't just count the numbers, but from the security briefings we had earlier, the indication was that over 10,000 people are expected to be around here. So that indeed tells you that we're expecting a lot more people to come here. But if you're watching us, you're on the JoyNews channel, and we're giving you that special coverage of the U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris, who is in Ghana.
So we're still at the Black Star Square. We'll bring you update on that particular public address, which is expected to be delivered by the U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris as part of her state visit to Ghana. Now, in the meantime, the ECOWAS Gender Development Center, the EGDC, says the rising case of conflict and terrorism is leading to a surge in gender-based violence against women and children in the sub-region. This was reviewed at a meeting of gender experts of ECOWAS member state for the validation workshop of the strategic plan from 2023-2027 of the EGDC in Accra Monday to help address the challenges. Now, there's more of that particular meeting in the following report.
Created in January 2003, ECOWAS Center for Gender Development exists to provide the regional community with a multi-purpose regional agency responsible for the implementation of the ECOWAS gender policy. In a bid to strengthen its work, the EGDC has brought together experts and representatives of civil society organizations to discuss, review, and finalize the draft of the EGDC strategic plan for 2023 to 2027. Delivering her welcome address, Director of the ECOWAS Gender Development Center, Ms. Sandra Fator, noted how terrorism is breeding violence against women.
New forms of terrorism and violent extremism involving women and girls, migratory problems arising from internal conflicts and conflicts between countries, increase in gender-based violence, as well as cross-border begging, trafficking of children. All these are problems that hinder the progress of the region towards a just and equitable and prosperous society.
Speaking at the program, Chief Director of the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, Dr. Afisa Zakaria, also outlined some key issues the new policy must focus on addressing.
The elimination of all forms of violence against women and girls, including harmful cultural practices such as child marriage and female genital mutilation. There is also the need to promote gender-sensitive legislation and ensure that perpetrators of gender-based violence are held accountable for their actions. Education is a key driver of economic growth and social development, and a concerted effort is needed to ensure that girls have equal access to education and are not forced to drop out of school due to early marriage or other cultural pressures. Also, the need to promote women's financial and economic inclusion is critical in providing them with the tools and resources they need to succeed in life. Finally, to ensure that women are represented in decision-making positions at all levels of government and civil society, women's voices and perspectives should be an integral part of all planning processes for effective governance and policy making.
Ms. Fator appealed to participants to lay bare their expertise to ensure a successful engagement.
I am therefore calling on you, ladies and gentlemen, experts, call on your insights to make proposals that are realistic and achievable over the next years so that the results of this strategy workshop will be implemented.
The workshop will end on Thursday, March 30, with a meeting of all gender ministers from the 14 participating countries to validate and adapt a newly formulated working gender policy for the ECOWAS. James Kwesi Aveji's report, read to you.
So let's take you to KJTIA for an update on the fire incident at the KJTIA market there. We understand that there's currently a press conference happening and our man is there to help us get all the update. Let's take you there now for the live feed of that particular presser now.
Inaugurative committee. Near Casa Yamfa stakeholders in Brem. The KJTIA market. Sianemo, near Central Market, Sianemo, near GPR driver for Sianemo. And a board. Make our way said a bear, in I be who be free. Until Coba said, if Fiadano is Shian, and she said, Nibia, ye the buyer, a massa, may press release, a buying. A resolution by the board. The managing director to make sure that the affected area is sealed off by close of day, Friday, 17th March. Consultant to see chairman of the board on how contractor could assess the extent of damage as quickly as possible. NADMO to submit report to the board. Manager to clear the facility of all unauthorized structures and to liaise with traders' representatives to inform traders accordingly. All affected parts of the market be sealed until clearance from experts. Unaffected parts be opened on advice from experts at the end of their closure. A statement should be put together based on the discussion of the emergency meeting to notify the public on the operation of the facility following the fire outbreak. Only the manager and the board chairman to grant interview to the media. We is a meeting and now Nifia Dana, a betrokrata ma consultants. And now you might dear bedi and this annie may was free. Said I be who say, yes, she said, no, and one say. Yes, press release, no, and I 20th, I am run out here. At the chair say, market, no, dear Tierney. Baby, actually, yeah, baby, so just say, your home baby. The moment do na, a be said, be my mitchell. Say a woman who said, and yet Janny na she. The deity say, yeah, to Janny name. The Etienne person, yes, and say, Monsieur, that chile move boko from say, I'm funny, say, beer, you were dying to say, whole highway, and there are 4 pillars, and a pillar back, car boom, and now a boo, a dime beer womb. To know you, my dear, a person, and say, yeah, said, column no boo no, I am a piano, I cut concrete no, and I cut that dear. So I cut that dear, the dear, and I bend the dear. There's a random, wait, never was no, a bit my day, a boo, I'm an equinipa. And no, yes, sir, and you're not, yes, I press release you. See a truck cracker to say the mayor, air cannon, and the ma consultant. The men die 18th. Also so true. And man, the men that was shada 18th and 19th for Nigina. The continental job. I heard the other fire and that move for bay. If we any of this are and Yama e buy. 80 now a passe a hair, Sanya Mano. To the Edikai and say, a passe a hair. Say you may dear Nina, a wasson. The Edikai say, ye heard reconfiguration and the beer womb. Tea a dear na bemu, the another mohu, say you may dear Nina, near Pessia and our trinum. Near we are now for a simulation. Simulation in the say. A drew baby at today be to make us and that yet says a ja shit better than yet medum. Nini nani a year. Sabre and the Dradana not ye say best argument. And a combine say, SSA marketing.
So that's the presser, which is the news conference, which is currently underway in Kumasi, explaining what led to the closure of the market. He was basically saying that the reason they closed the market, even though it wasn't the entire market that got burnt, was to ascertain the extent of damage and whether or not the site that got burnt will have an impact on the entire structure, and that's why they had to close the market. And he further went on to say that they will not look at reconfiguration and what it entails, and again will conduct some simulation exercise to know how to tackle any future fire that will break out on the market. So we'll still be keeping an eye on that particular one to bring you update from that particular news conference. But let's take you back to the Black Star Square now, where my colleague Blessed Soga is standing by for that public address by the U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris. We took you there where you saw the many people who have thronged the venue to listen to this address by the Vice President. Let's take you back there now to get update on what has been happening there since we left.
Hi, welcome to Business. My name is Daryl Kwao. The British Council is building a network of Ghanaians who have studied in the UK to afford them opportunities to access employment. There's more in this report of the alumni system.
Alumni fora in every university is the key source of employment generation. The UK has been producing the most employable students in the past years. The British Council aims to bring together the large community of Ghanaians who studied in UK universities. Director of Programs and Partnerships at the British Council, Solomon Domanyi, advised students to connect to increase your professional opportunities.
For instance, we have a lot of these former students in UK institutions who are in Canberra in various areas. And we think that if we can have them come together to form very solid alumni network, they'll be able to, among other things, share ideas, share their experiences. They can also be a sort of resource to upcoming graduates who want to go to UK to study but don't know how to go about it.
The universities in the UK have noticed the inflow of many Ghanaian students in the past decade. A lecturer at the publishing department, KNUST, Dr. Lucy Rikoto, wants both students and universities to keep track of the success and academic journey of students studying in the UK.
As they have the funds to put it together, but it should not just be talking and where you studied, but we should all leave with some new things that we have learned. This is the first, so we expect that the network would be built upon, and then next time when we meet, we'll be sharing deeper things and things that will make our lives improve for the better.
Mona Lisa Frimpong reporting.
Now, the European Union has retweeted its commitment to helping small businesses engaged in green entrepreneurship. Here's more in this report from the Green Accelerator Day demo held in Accra. The project gave 11 SMEs the opportunity to compete for an amount of 10,000 Ghana cedis to support their businesses. The project was themed Green Entrepreneurship, a Sustainable Solution to Economic Growth. Program Manager of Skills and Employment at the Delegation of European Union, Marta Brignoni, said the support would go a long way to help the businesses scale up.
Green work with the green businesses that have amazing ideas, but they still need some support to grow up, to scale up. So with the Green Project we are supporting, and today we are here to learn much more about the entrepreneur that we are supporting to the project. How do we support? We support them to increase their capacity on soft skills. What does it mean? We are supporting these businesses in better branding their product, in greening their processes. You know, many businesses are polluting the environment. So we are working a lot with a number of entrepreneurs to green the processes. So in the end, we have products that are not bothering and damaging the environment. We are helping them we are supporting them in facilitating access to finance. So how you can have a brilliant idea, but how are you able to sell your idea to the financial institution?
Senior Incubation and Acceleration Advisor Genevieve Parker-Chum added that the SMEs would be connected to other funding agencies to expand their businesses.
The Green Acceleration Program, we are supporting small and growing businesses that have already gained some traction, and then we are helping them to scale up their business. Over the past 3 years, we've worked with InnoHub here in Accra, and we've supported about 20 SMEs so far to scale up their businesses. So these are businesses from Ashanti and Western region. They are in agriculture, in renewable energy, in water sanitation and hygiene. What we do for them is to help them to scale up their businesses so that they can attract funds and also expand their markets.
The businesses were judged based on the sustainability and scalability of the operation. And that's business, the small news desk after this break.
Welcome back from the break. Now, as part of your Easter festivities, you might have planned to visit Kojo. But do you know you can begin your festivity with a visit to the Bunso Eco Park? Well, you could go for a canopy walk, a swing in zip line, or sling yourself in a giant basket. Now, as part of our Ghana Man series, join Kojo Yankson on this adrenaline-pumping adventure.
There is so much to do in the beautiful mountainside townships, but the fun begins literally minutes after you turn off the main Accra-Kumasi highway at Linda Door. Just there on your right, no more than a few kilometers in, is the Bunso Eco Park. This popular destination is the first stop for most Kwewu Easter pilgrims, and it really does have a lot going for it, in spite of its rather humble-looking frontage. For starters, this place packs some hefty heritage. It's been here a lot longer than you thought.
So how long has this place been here?
Since 1935, this place has been here.
What? Since before I was born?
Yeah.
Wow. All right, and it's always been an eco park?
First, it was for research purpose. So they come here for plant and research, and later it turned to tourist attraction.
Okay, here we are, the beginning of another exciting canopy walk. But first, some stairs.
Okay, go. You can go.
Okay.
some reason, this last one, even though it's the lowest, it seems to be the most precarious because look, so shaky, held together by strings. I really feel like Indiana Jones on this one. Wow, it's crazy shaky. Huh. I have to remind myself that there's no way it can tip me over, but that's an act of faith. Not easy. Okay, we seem to be coming to the end of it. All right, solid wood at last. Whew. Yes, conquerors. Trust me, this is definitely worth it. I don't know how many of these things I walked over, 5 or 6 or however many they were. Each one was a different experience. Not as high as Kakum, but you will not care because this seems to have a little bit of an edge of danger to it. I mean, you're safe, nothing will happen, but it doesn't feel like it while you're in the middle. Trust me, experience it for yourself.
Okay, 1 down, 2 to go. Let's see what this zipline business is all about, shall we? One thing you can't help but notice is the detailed attention the staff pay to safety. Every buckle, every fastening, every clasp is tightened, stretched, and tested to ensure that you are as safe as can be before you take to the air. Okay, now I think I'm braver than the average man and usually game to try anything at least once. But on this, my first encounter with a zip line, I must confess, I am terrified. There is a moment, just a couple of seconds while your harness is being hooked onto the zip line, when there is absolutely nothing between you and the open 30-foot drop to the ground. All you are standing on is a thin strip of wood the size of a kitchen stool with nothing holding you and nothing to hold on to. One little gust of wind, one little nudge, one little slip of foot, and you will fall. But then the harness goes onto the line with a loud click, and you are safe again.
2, 3, 4, move. Oh my God! Whoa!
Oh wow, that was fun. Let's do it again.
Oh my God! Here we go! Whoa!
Okay, 2 down, and I think I may have saved the scariest for last. Behold, the adult swing. And behold, some more stairs. I can feel it, the creeping, crawling sensation of something cold and sinewy climbing up my leg, through my stomach, and up into my chest cavity to clamp clammy tentacles of fear, dread, and apprehensive anticipation over my already overzealous cardiac blood pump. I feel like I might just die of fright even before they send me flying to what seems like my inevitable crashing demise in this heinous hellbasket.
Jesus Christ. Hey.
Here we
oh
go.
My God.
You know what? Once you're airborne, the toe-curling, ball-shrinking, blood-freezing, bile-curdling, sweat-spraying, tear duct flooding, synapse-blasting, nerve-shredding, cortisol-squirting feeling of tombstone cold fear disappears immediately. Suddenly, you're a child in a playground, sailing on the wind, soaring feet first towards heaven with the biggest smile on your face.
This is so good. Ah. The wind.
Oh, that's an experience I'd love to have, sling myself in that giant basket. Would you come with me? So as part of the Easter festivities, you might want to take a look at the Bunso Eco Park. And that's how we wrap up today's bulletin. But we still expect the Vice President of the U.S., Kamala Harris, to address a public gathering at the Black Star Square. We are there live, and we'll be bringing you that event to you live here. My colleague Blazer Soga is on the ground and will be joining us with all the details that you need to know from the ground today. So do stay with us. We'll bring you live coverage of that particular event. Well, there's more news on myjoyonline.com. My name is Samuel Kojo. Brace, grateful for your company this morning. Stay with us. Good morning.